Hello and welcome. I'm BluenoseLJ. The January transfer window is now open, and already Everton are being linked with a whole host of players coming to the club, and a whole load of players being linked with moves away from the club, which is usual during the transfer window for Everton. Now, in this video, I thought that I would take a look at some of the players being linked with a move away from Everton, and maybe some players that we should be looking at moving on, and also some of the players that are being linked with moves to Everton, and also some of the players that maybe we should actually be looking at bringing to the club. So I'll start with some of the players that are being linked with moves away, and I'm going to start with Moise Kean. PSG are rumoured to want to make the loan move permanent in a deal of somewhere around about £31 million. Now, for me, I think that is really good business if we can make a profit on him. We paid something like £27 million for him. So if we can make a profit, I think it's a no-brainer. He has done really well at PSG, to be honest, scoring 9 goals in 16 games. But he is playing in one of the biggest European teams at the moment, alongside two of the world's best players in Neymar and Mbappe. And the French league is not exactly the best league in the world, and their defenses are not as good as the Premier League. So maybe he looks a lot better in the French league than he certainly did in the Premier League for Everton. Now, he has potential. Clearly, he knows where the back of the net is, but maybe that potential is best fulfilled elsewhere than the Premier League and Everton Football Club. And, maybe in France or Italy, he will fulfill that. But I don't think it's going to happen at a Premier League club in England. So if we can make a profit on him, uh, while some people, Everton fans out there, I know, saying that we shouldn't get rid of him, but I think that that would be really good business if we can get rid of him to PSG and we can bring somebody else in instead. Tosun is being linked with a move to West Brom. Obviously, Sam Allardyce brought him to Everton and wants to take him to West Brom. I think West Brom are going to be looking at strengthening the defence first, but if they have any money left and they can afford Tosun, I don't think it's going to be exactly huge amounts of money. We paid a lot of money for him, but we're not going to recoup even probably half of that for him. And there, I think it's going to end up being a loan deal for the remainder of the season, anyway. So yeah, it looks like Tosun is going to be leaving. I would hope that we could get a permanent deal for him. He's not going to make it at Everton. Is clearly that he's not the backup for Dominic Calvert-Lewin. We need to bring in a new striker. If we can get rid of Moise Kean and Tosun for somewhere 45 million pounds between them, which means that we'd actually get a decent amount for Tosun, which I don't think we will. But if we can do that, we can bring in another striker and who is going to be proper backup for Dominic Calvert-Lewin, or even play alongside him. Moise Kean and Tosun are not those players, so if we can get rid of them, all the better. John Joe Kenny, not being linked with a move away from Everton in this transfer window yet, although last window obviously he was. Looks like he's not in the plans of Carlo Ancelotti. Personally, I would only get rid of John Joe Kenny if we bring in a right back, although Holgate has proven that he is good cover for Seamus Coleman should we need a right back cover. But it looks like John Joe Kenny is just going to be another Luke Garbett, unfortunately. Has a lot of potential. Everton fans liked him, but just didn't really progress and not going to break into the first team. So if we can get rid of John Joe Kenny, as long as we bring in a right back, I would be happy to do so. Branthwaite is being linked with a loan move to Blackburn, which I think is really good business. He's still young. We don't want to be getting rid of him permanently. He is going to be a potential first team player in the next few years. And so if he can go away and get some game time We have four solid centre backs now, so yeah, I would let him go out on loan for a year, two, and then come back and really compete for a space in the centre back position. Mo Besic is still at the club. He's been here for a long, long time. It seems it was always right way back with Moyes. So he's either been injured or out on loan for the vast majority of that time. So I think time to cut our losses on Mo Besic. Even though I like him, he's clearly not in the plans of Carlo Ancelotti and isn't going to be challenging the likes of Alan and Decore for the centre midfield position. So even if that's on a free transfer, it's time to just get rid of him. No point in another loan deal and having him back at the end of the season. Balassi, the same. It is likely that he will go out on loan if we can get somebody to take him on loan, that is. But I think he's not going to be pushing for a first team place. So, if we can get somebody to purchase him and recoup some of the money that we paid for him, I think it might be time to just get rid of him as well. Fabian Delph, the less said, the better. I will happily pick him up and take him to any club in Europe and drop him off personally. Um, it was worth it, the gamble, what we paid for him. I didn't like him before he came, but the money wasn't fantastic, and I think it was worth a gamble. It hasn't paid off, and it's time that he just moves on now. Clearly not good enough for Everton. Injured every other game. We're just paying lots of money to him to basically sit about doing nothing. Even when he's playing, he does that anyway. Bernard, I like Bernard. He is one of the most skillful players that we have. The problem is he's really lightweight. And I just don't think that he's consistent enough. And if we can get some money back on him, we got him on a free transfer. I think the fee that we're looking at is £11 million. If we can get that for him, I would say time to get rid of Bernard as well. As long as we can bring somebody else in to cover him, we do need wingers. He's not the worst player in the world, but he's just far too inconsistent. Then we have Tom Davies. Personally, I don't dislike Tom Davies. In fact, I actually like Tom. He clearly loves Everton Football Club. But if we are going to be challenging for top four, he isn't good enough. And that isn't anything against him. It's just the fact that he isn't good enough for Everton Football Club challenging for top four positions. So maybe in one of the lower Premier League clubs, he would do quite well. But for Everton, I think his time is limited, even though Carlo Ancelotti has said that he is in the plans. Realistically, when Alan is fit, when Decore is fit, even Gamabin, we don't know what he's going to be like at the moment. I just don't think that Davies it fits into the team, so we should be looking at getting rid of him if we can. So those are the players that I think we should get rid of. We're not going to get rid of all of those. I don't think that there's quite a few of those players are not going to get clubs interested in them, but we should let go of as many of those players as we possibly can. Now, players with potential moves to Everton. Now, I'll start with Olsen, who is already obviously at Everton on loan. We are looking at maybe making that loan deal permanent. Of a fee somewhere in the region of £5 million, I think it's a no-brainer. He's done quite well when he's been brought into the team. Lossell clearly isn't as well in the plans of Carlo Ancelotti, and for £5 million, Olsen is a good cover for Pickford, who actually personally I think has been one of the best players for Everton this season. I have to say that Pickford has been immense, and probably saving us the need of bringing in a number one goalkeeper, because Pickford has stepped up and maybe becoming the goalkeeper that we know that he could be. And Olsen is good cover. So for me, we'll keep Olsen. Now, we definitely need a right back. Although, as I said, Holgate has stepped into that and done a really, really good job. The fact is he's not a right back. He is a centre back. He's probably going to enjoy playing more at right back than he is at centre back than he is at right back. But he has done well. He has been really good cover for um, Seamus Coleman. If Holgate and Ancelotti feel that right back is an okay position for Holgate, then I would be happy for Holgate to continue. He did really well. He isn't going to be the up and down right back like what Seamus Coleman was, but he is definitely a solid right back. And if we are playing a right back rather than a right wing back, he's going to be okay. Now, we could look at somebody like maybe Max Aarons from Norwich, which there are links to him at the moment. The fee somewhere in the region of £30 million. I don't think Norwich are in a position to actually need to sell. They actually want to go up. And the money that they would get for going up would be more than the potential of selling some of the best players. So they don't need to sell. But if we could get him for somewhere in the region of £30 million, I think that would be a good deal for us. He is a really good player. And I don't really know of any other right back that we are looking at, or really who we should be looking at either. Maybe you could give us in the comments, say who you think should be we should be looking at right back. I would go with Max Aarons. I don't think it makes a sense to loan him back to Norwich for the rest of the season, because we need a right back. We're trying to push on for the top four, and we need a right back now as cover. So if we're going to take him and he's going to be come into the team, I would say let's do it. If we're going to loan him back, I don't think it makes sense to us right now. So it all depends on how Norwich would want that deal structured. Sami Khedira, I don't like this idea of bringing in Sami Khedira. I've watched quite a few videos of him on YouTube. Right, I'm not going to say that he's not a good player. He's played 77 times for Germany. He's played for some of the biggest clubs. He's a good player. There's no question about it. He is better than Gomez and Gylfi Sigurdsson. I just don't think that he's a massive upgrade on Gomez and Sigurdsson, and I don't think he offers us anything different than Gomez and Sigurdsson. He's slow. We need pace, and he doesn't have it. So I think that he is a slightly better version of what we already have. And it's arguably whether he is actually a better version than what we have already at his age and where he is in his career at the moment. So I don't like the idea. I think it's going to happen. I do think that it is a strong link, and obviously Carlo Ancelotti knows him. So there is a really strong possibility that we end up with him. Um, and I hope that I'm proven wrong and he does really well for Everton. I just don't see it personally. Um, and again, I suppose it depends on the money that we're going to pay out for him and the money that we're going to pay on wages. The Isco possibility seems to have gone really quiet. I know Arsenal were linked with him, but it looks like that they're going to not continue with that. He is being linked with Sevilla as well. Like I say, it has gone quiet. I would like to see him come to Everton, but whether that is realistic or not remains to be seen. and there doesn't seem to be too much speculation going on at this precise moment in time linking him to Everton. It did for a few weeks, a month or so back, but now it definitely seems to have gone quiet. Um, we shall see on the Isco possibility. I'd really like to see him come. Um, Leon Bailey. I've watched some videos of him. Very, very quick, very direct. Seems to have a lot of his followers saying that he is a really, really good player. Um, he would definitely improve Everton. There's no question about it. Whether he is what we need right now, um, yeah, maybe he is. Maybe he is. I'm not totally sold on Leon Bailey, but he's definitely a good player. He's definitely quick. He's definitely creative, and could definitely add something to Everton. Again, it would depend on how much we would have to pay for him and how much wages, whether that would take away from bringing in another player. I don't know, but definitely a possibility. It looks like there are some quite strong links to him coming to Everton. Again, he's being linked with quite a few clubs. So again, it's something that we shall wait and see. Yeah, it's exciting possibility, but I think it would be a gamble as well. Certainly better than the wingers that we have at the moment. So uh, we shall see on that one. Some players that I think that maybe we should be being linked to. Now we have been linked to Milik in the past. We definitely need a striker as backup, especially if Tosun and Moise Kean make moves away and permanent moves. We really have Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and that's it. We do have Sims from the youth under 23s, but hasn't really featured in the first team, so we don't know what he's going to be like in the Premier League. Maybe he should be given a chance, maybe against Rotherham or over the next couple of weeks, at least get a place on the bench. Milik, for me, is not good enough, but would be reasonable cover for Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and it isn't a huge amount of money that we would be looking at either. So he would be good cover. There's no question about it. He is a good player. Whether he wouldn't be challenging Dominic Calvert-Lewin, put it that way, for the for the striker role. He would be coming as cover. But I think that there are some players that we should be looking at now. Giroud is looking like there's a really strong possibility that he would leave Chelsea. I still think that Giroud is a really, really good player. I would have liked to have seen us move for him before he moved to Chelsea, and I still think that he has potential there, and he is still one of the best strikers in the Premier League. And if there was a possibility of being able to get him even on loan, I would take that. Of course, there's the possibility of Diego Costa, who I still think would come to the Premier League and score a lot of goals. The only concern about Diego Costa that I would have is the reputation. Now, it's whether that reputation is true, whether it's correct, whether he would cause a bit of uproar in the dressing room. We look like we have quite a good unity in the dressing room. Would Diego Costa upset that? And he is very unlikely to come in and be second to anyone. So we would be Would Carlo Ancelotti play Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Diego Costa up front? You can't drop Dominic Calvert-Lewin, but Diego Costa is not going to come and be second fiddle to Dominic Calvert-Lewin. He's going to go to a club where he is going to be number one striker. So the likelihood is that we would have to play two strikers. And whether Carlo Ancelotti is willing to do that is another thing. I would like to see Diego Costa come to us, of course. I still think that he would be an awesome signing for any club that he goes to. He would definitely score goals. Just that concern over the reputation that precedes him. Dele Alli from Tottenham. I would take Dele Alli if we could get him on loan. So I don't think that would happen. We are being linked with him. I think he's going to go to PSG, but I would definitely take him if the opportunity was there and he would come to us. He would definitely fit into the Everton team, I think. Then some other players, which Gana Gueye is likely to leave PSG. I would take him back tomorrow. I still think he's a top quality player. Whether he would come back to Everton is another thing, but I would take him. Now, there are two players that I don't think that we would get, but if there was even a possibility, I would take them. The first one would be Eriksen. It's really, really unlikely that we would be able to get him, but quality player. If we could get somebody like him, would be awesome. And I still think that Coutinho is a class player. I know that he played for the other side, but whether he would come to Everton, whether he's even available from Barcelona at the moment, he seems to be playing a little bit back there at the moment. So, but for me, if we could get somebody like Coutinho or Eriksen, we need a player of that kind of, that kind in our midfield. We need a kind of like a, I know I don't want to say it, but like a Ross Barkley, because I don't want Ross Barkley, but that type of player. We need a ball carrying player. I know Decore is that kind of player, but at the moment he isn't being utilized as that. But then that's because Alan is injured and we don't really have anybody else. If we could have Alan, Decore, and Ghana, that would be an awesome midfield, I think. So yeah, let me know who you think that we should be looking at getting, whether you think the players that we're being linked to are good enough. What about the players that are being linked with moves away? Do you agree that we should be getting rid of Moise Kean and the other players that I've said? Is there anybody else that we should be looking at getting rid of? What about Sigurdsson, who has been one of our better players in the last few weeks? And obviously there are some Everton fans out there that would like to see Richarlison move on. We would get a lot of money for him and be able to bring in a few players. Is that something that, as an Everton fan, you would like to see happen? Let me know. Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe to this channel to be kept up to date with further videos, and I look forward to seeing you on my next video.